My parents have talked to me, 29M, about marrying a cousin? Am I right to feel weird about it, or am I being too stereotypical? Okay, so some background. I'm 29 going on 30, male, from a Middle Eastern background. I've never had a girlfriend and I've never had a girl home or anything in front of my parents. I'm definitely no ladies' man, and the chances of me actually finding the one on my own are slim to none. Seeing as I'm getting older and still single, my parents want me to get married. I mean, I do too, tbh. Kinda lonely lol, but they only know girls in our family as suggestions. It's not like a forced arranged marriage, but more of a suggestion on their end, and only if the girl is consenting to. I know the girl in question. We kind of grew up together when I used to live back in that country before I came to North America. At the times growing up, I think she had a crush on me too, and although she's pretty and nice and smart, etc., I just feel weird because she's my cousin, like daughter of my dad's sister cousin. My dad tells me that I might be pushing away a great girl for me just because of a taboo of marrying cousins, but it's just hard for me for some reason to see her as my wife. What are your thoughts on marrying cousins? Is it as bad as it's made out to be? I think it's totally normal to think that it's weird. I know the idea of marrying one of my first cousins is weird, and I definitely wouldn't consider it. Especially if you grew up together, it'd be hard to see her as anything other than family. If you're uncomfortable with the idea, that's all the reason you need not to do it. If you're in North America, you'd also have to check to see if that would even be legal where you are. As I remember, it's not legal in Canada, and in the US only about half of the states allow first cousin marriage. Not sure about the rest of the continent. Might be a good out if you're somewhere it's illegal and looking for an excuse that isn't "I'm uncomfortable with the whole idea." Edit. Helpful Canadians have pointed out that it is legal in Canada, but it's also illegal in about half of the US. And with any relationship, if it feels weird to you, then it's weird to you, and you have no obligation to enter into that relationship. Don't marry your cousin. Chances of genetic disorders increase the closer you stay to your own gene pool. Weirdly, this is only half true. Chances of genetic disorders are highest among relations with 1 degree of separation, siblings, parents/children, super gross, I know, and very high among relations with 2 to 3 degrees of separation, aunts/uncles/nieces/nephews, cousins, yeah, also gross. However, chances of genetic disorders are far lower if two people who are related between 4 and about 7 degrees of separation have children together, second cousins, third cousins, etc., versus having children with someone they share no relations with. Biology is fucking crazy. Don't do it. There are a lot of great people on the dating market. Just be direct. Tell your parents you think it is weird and you would rather not. If you are having trouble, you need to work on dating like you work on anything else. Get a clean haircut, lose weight/gain muscle, get stylish clothes and a nice car. I know it sounds shallow, but all of the female tens out there are working just as hard every day on their dating acumen. Has this happened before in your family? One instance of cousin marriage isn't terribly dangerous genetically, but I've got a feeling this has happened more than once. My 30M best friend, 30M, passed away, and I don't know what to do with an engagement ring he had. Tried to make this concise, but I think a bunch of context is required, so sorry for the length. My computer also crashed the first time I tried posting, so this is a total rewrite, and I might have got some info jumbled up as this was pretty emotional to write. Too long didn't read. I found a ring that my friend lost before passing away. He was thinking about proposing to his girlfriend but was unsure. I want to get rid of the ring ASAP but don't know what to do with it. My best friend had been dating his GF, 30F, for 5 or 6 years, and moved in with each other in 2019. He lived 5 hours away, so we didn't see each other often, especially last year, but we talked on the phone at least once a month, without exception. Anyway, my birthday is in June, so I invited him up for a socially distant barbecue at my place, and he stayed over. with his GF. There were about 20 people there, but at the end of the night it was just me and him sitting around the fire, drinking. He told me he was going to propose to his girlfriend, literally on the ride home. He went back into the house and grabbed the ring to show me. We kept drinking and then it started to rain, so we ran inside. The next day he comes to me and says the ring is missing. Neither of us could remember well, but both remembered handling it at the fire. We went out to the fire pit and it was all muddy and shitty. He looked briefly, but figured we were just making things worse by trampling on it and potentially burying it. He also didn't want to arouse suspicion from his GF. Anyway, he had to leave the next day, and he decided proposing without a ring was kinda silly, so he left pretty sad and disappointed. I got the impression that he was not going to be able to afford to replace it right away. After a couple days everything was dry, so I went back to look and searched for a couple hours. I borrowed my neighbor's, apparently shitty, metal detector and found a pocket knife and some bottle caps, no ring. I looked for it every time I was around the fire pit for the next few months, but no luck. Flash forward to September and we are talking on the phone, and the ring comes up and he says, "I think I dodged a bullet anyway," exact quote, and that while he didn't want to break up with her, he definitely didn't want to propose right now, exact quote. Basically, things hadn't been going well since COVID started, and it sounded like he was getting engaged to try and save the relationship maybe. He sounded like he wanted to reevaluate once COVID was over and he knew what the relationship was going to be like with some normalcy. They had only moved in with each other a short time before lockdowns started. That was the last time we spoke. He passed away 3 weeks later. There was no real funeral, due to COVID. His parents live in another country, and except for one set of cousins, he had no family around, no brothers/sisters. If he had a will, I didn't hear about it. He didn't have a house or any major assets or any real money. I know his GF was listed on his work life insurance policy, so I imagine most of the rest of his stuff would have gone to her as well. I was not close to his GF, and I wouldn't say we didn't get along. She and I were cordial, but awkward around each other. After he passed, I did speak to her on the phone once to express my condolences, and offer help, etc. in any way I could. She told me she was moving out of the apartment they shared and moving back to her hometown. She offered me some of his stuff that she was going to sell/dump. I didn't want anything. We spoke for maybe 30 minutes and it's probably the longest conversation I ever had with her. Flash forward to 3 days ago, and lo and behold, I find the fucking ring. It was devastating, to be honest. I literally fell to my knees. I had stopped looking for it after he passed, tried not to think about it, and it was sitting right there. Not buried, not under anything. I have no idea how I missed it for 7 months. But I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with it. I don't currently have a way of getting in touch with his parents, nor his cousins. I know the general area where they live and their last name, but I can't find them in the phone book. Nor he had much in the way of social media. I thought about reaching out to his GF, but that seems like a huge can of worms. I'm running the scenarios through my head and none of them sit right with me. I'm either lying or being a jerk, or stealing. I genuinely cannot imagine what he would want me to do here. I don't want it. I don't want to sell it. I don't want anything to do with it. It's just a painful memory and I want it gone ASAP. Am I hurting anyone if I just throw it in the garbage or bury it somewhere? Edit. Well, too hard to reply to everyone, so I think an edit is more appropriate. 1. I am not comfortable telling the GF one half of the story and giving her the ring. I don't know what their relationship was actually like. All I know was he wasn't going to give the ring to her as of the last I talked to him. It would feel like I'm proposing on his behalf, to me, anyway. 2. I do not have a way of getting in touch with his parents currently. They moved away when we were 17 or so. He lived with his cousins for a year or so, and before that, they were rarely in town. He was definitely not close with them, he never talked about them, and I'm fairly sure the GF never met them. I am going to reach out and see how to contact them. I know she did speak with them on some level for the funeral arrangements. 3. I don't want it, even if it did belong to me. I have stuff that makes me remember my friend, happy memories. Nothing about this is a happy memory to me. It was the last time I saw him and he left angry and sad, and I felt guilty. I hate this ring. I would like to give it to someone so that they can sell it or do what they want with it, or throw it out. I don't know what you should do with the ring. While you're deciding what to do, get his parents' contact info. You can ask the girlfriend for his parents' phone number without telling her about the ring. Just tell her you want to check in on them, or tell her you found a picture of your friend that you thought they might like a copy of. Make sure you actually have a picture because she'll likely want a copy as well. I'm sorry about your friend. I definitely wouldn't give it to the girlfriend because she might ask more questions about why he waited for so long after losing the ring and not getting a new one, then learn that he actually chose to not propose after all. Or if she also thought the relationship was souring, it might make her feel worse about it if she thinks he was more attached than her. If you don't tell the whole truth, I would contact her and ask for the parents' details and just say you wanted to ask them something or give your condolences and then send it to them, with the full backstory so they don't suddenly view his GF as an almost daughter-in-law or something, because they might then ask her if she would say yes, and if she wasn't going to say yes, that would be horrible for her to have to say or lie about. Just because the GF is receiving his life insurance, that does not mean she is the heir to the rest of his assets. It's complicated if the parents are out of the country. She very well may be handling some stuff for them, but by no means does that mean she's getting the cash in his bank accounts, etc. Maybe look up the records of probate court where he lived. There could be something there that gives you a hint to who the executor is. My partner died unexpectedly and we were not married. I would have been deeply moved to hear the first part of the story regarding the ring. The second part about doubts would have messed me up. And we have no idea what actually was going on between the two of them, what their conversations were about marriage or how she was feeling about the relationship. I think you should just talk to whomever ends up handling his affairs, most likely his sister. If it is family. If the GF ends up settling his affairs, I don't know. In that situation, personally I would feel that the GF has a better claim on the ring than me, if I were in Op's shoes. Even though shit was obviously complicated, since he never proposed and may have never proposed, the ring is an object that holds monetary value. Another option is to sell the ring and donate the money to an organization the friend cared about. I think a good way of looking at it is, what would the friend have wanted? Another option is to sell the ring and donate the money to an organization the friend cared about. Think a good way of looking at it is, what would the friend have wanted? This is a good idea. I was thinking the same thing. I would try to get in touch with the parents first, though. It's part of his estate and should be returned to the executor of the will. Really hurt that I spent months supporting my BF through a major life decision and he decided to celebrate it with his best friends instead of me. Edit, some details I didn't include in the original post. We're in our late 20s, been together for about a year and a half. I'm still in school, so not in the position to move with him, and we haven't discussed if we will pursue an LDR yet. He doesn't really have a history of putting his friends before me, aside from the occasional day that I ask if he wants to hang out last minute and he says he's already made plans with them. For the last half year, my boyfriend has been agonizing over 2 dream job positions, one in Atlanta and one in NYC. For the last 6 months, this is literally all he has talked about. We see each other only about twice a week because he lives about 1 hour away, and it sometimes frustrated me that the only thing on his mind when we saw each other were these jobs. I listened to him rationalize for hours through the application/interview process, which city he would rather live in, which job had better benefits, work culture, etc. as he went back and forth for months. Granted, this is a huge career decision for him, so I didn't mind much and just wanted to be as supportive as possible. Right before he made his decision, I even suggested a last-minute trip to Atlanta. He's already been to NYC, and spend the weekend there so he could get a feel for the city. I helped him plan the trip, took a week off work and came along to keep him company company and split all of the expenses to make it more affordable. I even phoned up a friend of mine who had some connections to the company to help get him acquainted with the right people. This weekend, he found out he got both job offers, yay. But the final decision will come down to tomorrow, when he gets the phone call and finds out the final salary offers for both jobs, which will be the deciding factor of where he spends the next chapter of his life. I asked him how he plans to celebrate, and he told me that he took the day off and already planned on going out with his two best friends tomorrow night, but that we can celebrate the following weekend. I was so hurt when I heard this but tried not to show it. I've given him so much support over this, for months and months, and I'm not even the first person that he wants to celebrate with. I'm so upset, but I've never been the type of person to make a big deal over things like this because it's just not who I am. And I know some of you may think that it's not a big deal and I should just tell him how it made me feel. But I'm mainly devastated at the fact that he wouldn't want me to be the first to celebrate with him after I have been there for him literally every step of the way. Not that his friends haven't also, but I do feel that I have given him so much more support. If I have to bring it up to him, it might make him feel bad, but doesn't change the fact that he didn't think of me first to celebrate this special moment in his life. I've been feeling so crappy about this and I don't know what to do.